What's old is new. Vice has aired its first episode of its documentary series Who Killed WCW, and it's dredging up real-life feuds from 25 years ago, like the one between Bret Hart and Eric Bischoff. Hart, as he so often is, was totally candid in his interview for the documentary series. He was openly critical of WCW management and specifically called former WCW president Bischoff Hulk Hogan's puppet. When asked if he could sum up his time in the promotion in one sentence, he was very blunt, saying, "Thanks for nothing, go yourselves." For those that don't remember, Hart's time in WCW was pretty rocky, to say the least. He arrived there in 1997 after a well-documented bitter departure from the then WWF. He won the U.S. title and the World Heavyweight Championship, but both he and fans consider the storylines he was given to be largely forgettable. He was forced to retire in 2000 after suffering a concussion when he took a kick from Goldberg in a match at Starrcade the year before. WCW ultimately went under in March 2001. Vince McMahon purchased the company and absorbed it into the WWF. Bischoff was also interviewed for Who Killed WCW and reacted to the first episode on a special edition of his 83 Weeks podcast. He said he wasn't surprised by Hart's comments.
I expect, Bret Hart to be, crabby and grouchy and blame the world. Sure, we hear it every time we hear Bret.
Ultimately, Bischoff explained that he actually feels bad for the hitman. He said he saw Hart at an event in Australia a few weeks earlier, said hello to him, and met his wife, who Bischoff said seemed like a very nice person. But Bret was the same old Bret.
But you just look at this guy from across the room and he looks miserable. Well, it's the same old. Bret didn't have a clue what was going on in WCW.
Bischoff acknowledged that Hart was going through a lot by the time he got to WCW, with the events of the Montreal Screwjob at Survivor Series 1997 fresh in his mind. Things didn't really get any easier during Bret's time in WCW. His brother Owen died in an accident at the WWF Over the Edge pay-per-view in May 1999. Bischoff contended that the tragedy of Owen's death led to Bret being disconnected from the business. However, Bischoff also said he feels he can't take Bret seriously because he is bitter and doesn't take responsibility for his actions. Seems like Bret feels likewise. We'll just have to see if Bret and Bischoff have more to say as the Vice documentary series continues. There are 3 more scheduled episodes digging into the demise of WCW, a much-discussed topic among wrestling fans and commentators for the past 2 decades plus. Notably, the series is co-produced by Dwayne Johnson, who was arguably at the peak of his career in WWE when WCW folded. He's now a member of the board of TKO, the parent company of WWE.